So this is obviously the homepage. Booking team travels completely different than the process for individual travel. And so there's going to be kind of 3 steps here that you need to take that we'll walk through today. First is creating your team profile. Second is uploading your team roster. And the third is how to actually submit the group travel request and what that looks like, what that process looks like after the fact. So bear with me as some sports are not completely updated, depending on new coaches and staff and things like that. But to edit all of your team travel related info, you go to the sports tab here. And then you'll see a drop down menu. And so I have access to all the sports, but you should only see your sport respectively. So I'll just pick on crew here. Let's go up here. Cool, and you can see here that as of right now, John and Phoebe are listed as the travel contacts. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I would recommend at least one of the travel contacts being the person that's booking the travel, as you'll have the most information about your itinerary and kind of the process and all that. Whether it's secondary or primary, just let me know. The general team info has to be uploaded, like the actual people have to be uploaded on Shorts' end. So if you can't see someone in the drop down menu here, we'll have to contact Shorts and just let me know and we can make those changes if they're not.
Can I add myself?
You should. So if I wanted to do a CC contact, let's see if you're in here, Tessa.
There I am.
Yes. So if I wanted to add you, I could just click submit.
Okay.
Boom.
I can't add myself as like a third contact though, permanently.
You could. So I could change these, but I'll leave that up to
Later.
you.
I'll do that. I just yeah.
You can change yourself as the primary, the secondary, whatever. So.
And then we're not a lightweight program, so I can just email somebody about that.
Yeah, if you want to change the name, yeah, that's
Okay,
totally fine.
great.
I don't know if there's more than one.
There's women's rowing, so I think that's you guys, Tessa.
Okay, cool. There we are.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, interesting. Okay.
And you're there.
Okay, well, we want to consolidate, so I'll follow up with Anna. Get rid of the lightweight crew one. So no worries there. Cool. So just making sure that's right. It's kind of like the first step with your team profile. And then you can see here, there's all the options for your team. So we'll go ahead and click on team profile. And that brings us to this screen. And this is a very kind of basic information about your team. We'll kind of walk through the steps here. So the contact, this would be the primary travel contact for your team. I recommend either that it be the head coach or the person someone that's traveling essentially or booking the travel. The emergency contact should almost always be the head coach unless for some reason the coach doesn't travel with your team for any given reason, but I would just recommend putting the head coach in there. From here, you can kind of fill out some preferences about your travel. So Shorts has them. So the first step would be filling out your air information. So if you have any preferred vendors that you like flying with, Delta, Southwest, whatever, you can put those here. Preferred airports. So if you like flying out of Boston versus Providence, etc., you can put those here. And then any special requests that might come up on any given flight that are team related. So, any special equipment combinations that you need as you fly. If coaches need to always be sat together, if you have some student athletes that needs specific requests or have allergies, you can't open peanuts on a plane. It's really bad allergy, things like that to put in here. So Shorts knows that. Charter information, you can leave that blank. If you end up chartering at any point, we can cross the bridge of that process when we get there. On to hotels, so this is where you put in your preferred hotel information, any vendors you like staying with, if you like staying at Marriott, stuff like that. And then here's the room breakdown. So single rooms are
True.
Hey, Dee and Tessa, can you guys hear Adam?
He's frozen.
I just messaged him that he's frozen. Oh,
Oh, okay, I'm back. Wow, that was
Oh.
really strange. Is everybody here still?
What camera are you using?
Oh, what? Oh, that's super weird. Oh, it's like the TV. I'm not even.
That's like
I don't even know how
very
that-
Big Brother. That's unnerving.
Yeah, no, I
there
changed
you
it.
are.
All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Okay, let me share my screen here again. Must be the internet or something weird in this room. Okay. So I believe we left off on the hotel rooms. So again, the student athletes, make sure they each have a bed and that there's 2 to a room. You don't need to enter anything about your budget. You all know your budgets, and if you have any questions about that, you can always reach out to Julia or us, and we can sort through that. Meeting room requirements. So as you're traveling, if you need to have a meeting room for anything, whether it's a team meeting before a game, and if you need AV requirements for that for all your trips, you can put that in there, and they have that information. And then any special requests. So if you're always, and typically always, most of our teams have a charter bus for most of their games. If you need bus parking for your hotel, if you need Wi-Fi in rooms, stuff like that, all those specific accommodations, you can put those in there just so Shorts knows. Ground transportation. So if you, again, Shorts has our preferred vendors for non-charter bus. So you don't have to put in National Enterprise, they know that information. But if you typically rent a car in addition to having a charter bus, if you need to run errands or things like that, you can always list your preference of what type of vehicle you need, things like that. Or if you use 12 to 15 passenger vans, you could put the number of vans you might need every given trip, or if you need a 15 passenger versus 12, things like that. Motor coach preferences. So again, we use Academy, and I'll get into more of that later on in the booking process, but you don't have to put that preferred vendor information there. If you have a specific bus driver you like using, if you need accommodations for your equipment, Wi-Fi in the bus, things like that, you can put that information in here. And then once you do that, you click save, and then all that information will be there. And that's the first step. And I've got some Shorts documents and documents I put together too that will have all this information about what you might need to put in certain areas or stuff like that. So if you have questions later on, which I'm sure you will, you can always reference those. Cool. Next step is the team rosters. So you're going to click on the team members tab here, and that's going to bring you this screen. Now, Tessa, you can see that from your travel in May that there's already a roster in here. Now, there's kind of 2 ways to go about uploading your roster. If you already have a roster in here, you can create 2 new team members for this first option right here. If I click add, I can add each player individually, or a number of players. It'll prompt multiple entries there, and you kind of have to do those one by one. That's a step I'd recommend if year over year you're only adding a couple athletes. That might make more sense for women's basketball. But the second option, this is what I would recommend for uploading your team roster for the first time, is using the import from spreadsheet function. So you can see here that they provide you a sample spreadsheet. So you can go ahead and download that. And if I open that up, I'm gonna new share here, open this up. Can you guys see that spreadsheet all right? Oh, screen sharing has stopped. That's super weird. Okay, cool. I've reached out to Shorts. I know the formatting is a little weird right now, but if you unwrap the text, it should be fine. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. Let's see. That's super weird. Huh. Let's try to edit these so you can kind of see what I'm working with here. Apologize about the delay. Looks like Shorts has not fixed that yet. Okay. So this is what it looks like. It's a very standard spreadsheet. You have to fill in just some basic information. And this is more so for flights than anything. Shorts will reach out for your actual like rooming assignments and things that you can give them. I know Teamworks has a feature where you can give them rooming assignments and things like that, and break those out and provide it that way, whatever works best for you. But this is more geared towards flights specifically. Again, the traveler's name has to appear as it is on their license or passport. So no nicknames here. You have to enter their date of birth. Has to be in that format with the slashes. Again, gender is male or female. You do have to enter a weight for the spreadsheet to upload. It won't upload without a weight. That's more for charter purposes, because they need to know like an estimated weight so they can know which size plane to use. So this specifically, you can just enter in like a generic weight. If you want to do like 130 across the board or whatever, it's fine, or 150, it doesn't matter. The last couple steps here, you can see the traveler type. So there's a drop down here, and you can also see over here that there's a blue table that shows you all the different travel types. So obviously student, athlete, and coach are self-explanatory. Trainer or manager, so that's what you would enter for an athletic trainer or your sports admin. And then lastly, any non-athlete, you could use that for a bus driver, sports info staff, stuff like that. You don't have to enter a known traveler number or DHS redress number. The known traveler number is mainly if you know that, especially if one of your student athletes has TSA pre-check. That'd be a great area to enter that information if they want to skip the line. Again, that's not something I don't think we like pay for, but like if student athletes have it, obviously they can, enter. And then the redress number is just if any traveler has the same name as someone who's on the do not fly list, they're issued like an additional number. So that would be where you'd put that in. And then lastly, any special requests, like if you need an aisle seat or a window seat, if you're claustrophobic, if someone has an allergy or something like that. And then all you do is save that. And then from here, go back to Shorts. You would just choose a file. If I go to my downloads here, here's the sports manifest. And I click this upload file blue option. I won't upload it because I don't want to mess with the information you have in there right now. And then you'll see a message here above this black text in red saying whether it's been successfully uploaded or not. And then from there, your roster's in there. The nice information is there. Part of this is once you have that information in here, there are some cool features. So again, especially for you, AD, with a smaller roster, if you just got, 2 or 3 student athletes leaving, you can delete them and just upload a couple new, and you don't have to upload the spreadsheet year after year or every time you want to make a change. And you can also edit their information. So if at any time you entered their date of birth wrong, or you accidentally, were in autopilot, just put in their nickname by accident, you can go in and change that, and then click save. Another very awesome feature is the uncheck all option. So if you've got a couple student athletes that are ineligible or aren't participating in the fall or not traveling with this trip or flying, you can check or uncheck them, and then Anna will have that information or our designated travel rep at that time. Cool. Any questions about that?
I have questions.
Mhm.
So we do shorts I always associate shorts with flying, but we do this for all of our travel.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And we still do a bus itinerary, and we send that to Marty Ann 2 weeks before.
Yep. Absolutely. And there's like 3 different pieces, and I will get to that here in a sec, but travel is mainly booked by our designated travel rep. So whoever's, overseeing that Travel at Brown email account and providing us assistance, that's who books your flights. Hotels is currently routed to Cheyenne Kuzno, or I don't know if that's currently her last name. She just got remarried. But Cheyenne handles your hotels. So those requests go to her specifically. And then she's
through the portal.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. It's all centralized. So at least you can centralize it trip by trip. And I'll get into that in a second. Then obviously for now, Academy requests are still routed to then Marty Ann. And then if you had any rental cars, rental vans that were non-Brown, like leased vans, then those would route to Anna, and she could reserve those for you. And then obviously if they were, a Brown van, that information would be routed from the travel email to the Flex vehicle coordinator, which will be Aaron Indermill, our new financial coordinator on September 1st.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So once you have that information, from the home tab, you can go to the book a trip option. And you can see there's a few different options here. The one you're going to want to do is the group travel request form. And you can see here, you can see past trips for your team. So as you get booking requests, you can always reference what you did previously. If you just want to copy and paste text over or not sure what you did, that is a nice feature. Obviously, you should only be able to filter to your sport, so only your request should show up. Again, you can use the search past travel request function. But for now, we're going to get into the submit a new group travel request. And that brings you to this page. So first things first, you should click on your sport if that doesn't automatically pre-populate. So here I'll select rowing. And you'll notice that the booking contact, it automatically puts in the user's information that's booking the travel. So that part's super nice, that'll pre-populate. And then as far as a travel contact, you can pick that trip by trip. So if that changes for any given trip, that's a nice feature. It doesn't automatically populate based on just what's on your general team info. Those are more generic contacts. So there's a drop-down menu here. So for example, Tessa, if someone's sick or someone can't travel or John's not traveling and you're traveling and you want to be the travel contact, you could list your name as well to be the booking contact and the travel contact. It will pre-populate though the first person that general team info if you don't want to change it. So another nice feature. The general trip details. So here, just put in the opponent you're playing and keep it as simple as that. So if you're playing Cornell, just put in Cornell's information. If you're playing multiple opponents, so let's say you're traveling, you're doing a 2-stop trip and you're playing Cornell, and then, you're going down to play Columbia in the same trip, or whatever the case may be, you can put in, Cornell / Columbia. And that's how you do that. Number of attendees, this would be the maximum amount that you think are going to be traveling. It's not just student athletes and coaches, anybody that's going to be on the bus, needs a hotel room, whatever your travel accommodations are, make sure you're accounting for everybody. And it's much easier to overestimate and take off rooms close as you get closer than add rooms as it gets closer. So I would be generous and overestimate, make sure you have those numbers right. And again, the destination, I would just put the city and the state. If you have multiple destinations, there will be options here where you can leave notes for multiple destinations. I'll show you how to do that. And then alternate travel contacts. This would just be a secondary person in addition to the primary travel contact. So prime example, if someone can't get a hold of you, Tessa, and you're the primary travel contact, they may contact John. Or, AD, if you're the primary, they may contact Mo, or vice versa. And you can, and you'll have to pre-populate that information. You'll have to type it in. They don't have a drop-down feature for that, unfortunately. So you can see, you can click no or yes for all of your travel arrangements. So I'll go through each one for the sake of training, but obviously trip by trip, if you're only taking a bus, you might only have to do ground transportation. If you're doing a bus and a hotel, you only have to do those two, so that part's nice. So first, this is what airfare looks like. You should always be selecting commercial. Again, if you charter, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Always select round trip unless you're going to multiple destinations. So again, if you're flying somewhere, playing, and then going to another one, you could click this multiple destinations feature and it'll populate more destinations for you. Again, that's less common, but if that does happen, you can use that feature. So mostly you'll be doing round trip. Departure airport. So you should enter Providence or Boston. You can enter the city and the state, or you can enter Boston Logan International. To choose, so you don't have to type in the exact airport name. And then again, same for the city, wherever you're traveling, so just the city and the state suffices. From here, the departure and return times, there's just a calendar feature where you type in the dates. It just has to be in a specific format. I'd recommend using the calendar, but whatever you want to do. And then for the time specifically, they give you only ranges of 2 hours. So you'll just have to select one of those. And then obviously in the comments below here where it says details, you can leave specific notes if you need like an exact departure time or a little closer. And obviously Anna's going to send you options for the flights and things like that, and you can confirm those later on. Details about your air, in addition to specific times you need to leave, if there's any specific requests that are specific to this trip that you need to put here, you can provide that information. So again, kind of like what I went through in the team profile, equipment requests, special requests for seating charts. Again, those will be on your team roster and profile. So there are steps here to make sure that you have everything you need trip by trip. But being over detailed and over communicating is not a bad thing. So make sure you just list whatever you need, and Shorts will try to give you some options and accommodate. Okay, on to hotels. Again, very similar to kind of what the team profile looked like. So you have to enter in the number of total rooms. I'd recommend breaking it out first by number of student athletes you have for that trip. So again, it's safe to overestimate. So if you have 40 student athletes traveling with you, you should have 20 rooms. Again, 2 athletes, 2 a room. If you have 10 coaches and administrators, they should each have their own room. And then the total would be 30. Now, again, if I'm not super aware of this, but if coaches want to share a room, you know, and do doubles, you're more than welcome to. Just make sure you communicate that in the detail requirements below. So, you know, typically speaking, shorts and our team are on the same page that doubles are typically for student athletes. So in the preferred hotel section, this is where you put the game location. You can see in like the gray text here, it's kind of telling you what to do. This is so they have the information of where your game is, and they can get or look for hotels that are close to that. If you just say, you know, New York City, they might get you a hotel that's an hour and a half away from your game location. So you don't enter in the like preferred hotel, so like Marriott necessarily. It's important to have the game address. Most importantly, that's what they really need. So if you only know the facility name, that's totally fine. You know, shorts will be able to find the information, but again, finding more details is not a bad thing. And then the check-in, check-out dates. Again, that calendar feature, very straightforward. Details about hotel requirements. So be very specific here about Wi-Fi, meeting room requirements. We typically try to negotiate breakfast as a part of the rate, but if you want, you know, meals at the hotel, any late checkouts or things like that, or specific times you need to check in or check out for things, leave there. Bus parking, please make sure you're always getting bus parking. That's a super big one. And then obviously anything else that comes up, just leave that information there, and they'll return some options for you. Any questions about the hotel piece of it? At least filling out the form. Again, I'll get into the more specifics about what goes on after you submit. Cool. All right, last piece here is ground transportation. So there's 2 areas. Again, the first would be if you're renting. So this is where you'd input information for if you're using a Brown University owned or leased vehicle, or if you're renting a car at another location that's not a Brown University owned or leased vehicle. So again, you could say here quantity of rentals needed. So if it's, you know, 1 rental car, 2, etc. The van size. So again, van or car size, if you're just renting a, you know, a mid-sized sedan, if you need a 12 to 15 passenger van, whatever, enter that information here. And then please list the driver's names. So shorts and or, you know, our team can identify either who needs to be on the rental list so they can list the drivers so you're covered and can drive, or 2, in the process of reserving our own vehicles here, we can check to make sure you're authorized drivers, because that piece in getting authorized to drive is super important, especially when transporting student athletes. It's so, you know, make sure you're doing that. And then if you have any details about, you know, your rental car, and I would say specifically here, if you're renting a van, a university owned van or anything like that as a part of your trip, you can enter those details here. So, you know, van number, what time you need it by, you know, things like that. Enter that information here, and then shorts will know to route those requests. Most typical one will be motor coach bus. So there's kind of 2 ways to go about this. Most common is that we bus to Ivy League opponents and bus back. There's sometimes too where our teams will need a motor coach bus to the airport, and then they will need a motor coach bus once they get to their location as well. So I'll go through both of those. So if you're just using one bus, your motor coach pickup location would be where you're getting picked up at Brown. So which building you're getting picked up at. So if you just name a building location, they'll know. Competition location. So again, this would be the game address or facility name, like the facility address, things like that. So they have that. Obviously, if you get a hotel, they'll know where to stop at the hotel. What airport you're flying to, they'll have that information. So no need to necessarily put that. And then again, the pickup drop-off date's very straightforward. And then details here, if you have a specific time, if you have instructions for them about exactly where to pick up, and it's easier to pick us up here versus there at Brown. If you need Wi-Fi, if you like a specific bus driver, all those things are important to include here. And then if you have 2 motor coach buses, still, this is where you would enter your information for the pickup location for your game. So this would be the airport you're traveling to. So if you're getting picked up you're flying to Dallas, you would have marked the pickup location for Dallas, and then you would still put in the competition destination here and the pickup dates and drop-off dates. Then in the details section about your ground transportation, this is where you would do and enter, excuse me, the same information for your bus to and from the airport as you're traveling. So when the date and time that you're getting picked up from Brown and what airport you're going to fly to. And then again, when you return from your trip, the dates of that. So again, pick up and drop off date. And then, which building at campus they're dropping you off to. I think Women's Crew drops off near like a dining hall or something like that. Some drop off at athletics campus, just make sure you include that information there. And then again, any specific times related to your bus, all that. It's definitely better to leave more than less, because ultimately they're just going to ask questions if you don't. So, and then again, any additional needs for your request that's not covered in here, you can always leave here, and the travel agent will receive those. Is there any questions about submitting this form?
Yeah, I have another question, sorry. There are some places we go every year and we get kind of particular about hotels. How early can we put this in?
Right now.
Okay,
So everyone in this call, your schedule is approved. So from a policy standpoint, and again, I kind of covered that in the team travel 101s, but your schedule is approved, so you can put those requests in now. The sooner you do it, the better.
Right.
So I'd highly recommend getting the jump on it now. This is obviously one of your priorities for all teams. So the sooner the better. Good question. Cool. And then once you have that, you just click that blue button, submit travel request. And then from here, I'm going to show you what that email looks like that you get once you submit. Bear with me here. I don't have all the files open yet. So I will share this. Okay, and then I will zoom in a little here, but this is what a completed request email will be like. So once you submit this, shortly after, you'll get this email like, thank you for your travel request, appreciate your patience, and they'll telling you that they're looking for your travel, and they'll give you a general timeline, and then it'll show your submission information. So everything you just submitted in your request. So I would highly recommend looking at that email real quick just to see like, should I forget anything? And then if so, you can always reach out to the Travel@Brown email and say, hey, I forgot to add this, just so you have it. there's no way to edit a group request after you've submitted it like through Shorts. So if you wanted to like go into Shorts, like, oh, I kind of messed it up and like resubmit it, you can't do that. Once you've submitted, and then you just kind of have to do things via email. The next part I want to show you, and I'm going to open it up here in a sec, is what the hotel options look like that are sent back to you. So let's see, I'm sharing my screen here. So I'm sharing a prior document from Track from this spring, but they send you a spreadsheet like this. It'll show you the sport, and it'll say the trip name up here, and then it'll give you a bunch of hotels, and each column is its own hotel, and in the rows it'll show you what the rates are for each of these hotels, if they have meeting rooms, things like that, complimentary projectors. I mean, there's a ton of information that Shorts provides to you, complimentary breakfast, you know, complimentary bus parking, Wi-Fi, all this stuff. They'll send that to you, and then you can go through the options and just confirm which hotel you want to use to Shorts, usually via Cheyenne. And then from there, you know, they'll confirm the, you know, request with the hotel. The hotel will send the contract over to the business office to sign. Usually Marty Ann will sign that and then provide her credit card via the credit card authorization form, and her travel card is charged for that. And then obviously, you know, from a policy standpoint, they might just ask for your card for incidentals only. So just kind of refreshing you on that. But, and then they'll, at a later date, I believe it's 2 weeks. I'm not sure on the exact timeline. They will reach out asking about the rooming list. And then that's when you would provide that. Again, your team roster is really more for flights, like the team member section. So you may have to submit that, you know, whichever way is easiest. I know Teamworks has features where you can films and do assignments like that. Yeah, and then that's pretty straightforward. Another one I want to show you here is the flight itinerary that's sent to you once you confirm your flights.
Adam, sorry to interrupt. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, you may.
So the roster that's in Shorts, because we can only travel with a certain amount, I can select from the 23 people that we have on our team. Is that correct?
Yes. So, and again, that's mainly for flights. But obviously trip by trip, depending on who is traveling, I would just like uncheck those boxes at the time of submission and click submit, you know, and then again, Anna's going to confirm all of those options and, you know, make sure through the ticketing process that they're obviously issued to the right people. So, yeah, as those change, we're going to work with you on that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'll show you what that itinerary actually looks like here. So again, I'll zoom in a little bit. So this is the email that's sent to you for your flights. And this just says, it just has a bunch of information, you know, the airline confirmation, the cost per ticket, your, you know, your travel times, flight numbers, where you're flying to and from, all that stuff. It'll show you when your passenger names are due. So, you know, submitting those to Anna. And again, if you're using if she just can pull the team members, that's easy. If you want to send it, if it changes a lot, you can do that as well. And then the ticketing due option. So again, short of issuing the tickets and providing, and before you provide your names, this is what's sent to you. So there's a bunch of information there. Again, highly recommend checking that itinerary as it's sent to you, as all of this is sent to you, just to confirm that things are correct. So yeah. And then as of right now, Marnie Ann is still handling Academy, so those requests route to her, and then, that's a very similar process to last year. So I'm gonna send all the examples and screenshots and some of the shorts literature about all this, so you have it. And I'm also recording this, so as you go through and book, you can always reference this video if you're like, man, I can't remember what question I asked, and you can kind of go through and reference this to it at a later date. But yeah, you guys have any other questions for me about this process while you've got me here?
I have one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I tried to go on, just so that I can see the same, like follow along on my laptop. It doesn't pop up, like there's no drop down menu on the left. It says women's basketball. So I tried to create a new team and then there was an error because it says that, it was already created. What do
Yeah,
you
okay.
suggest?
That's good to know. We've had some issues, not necessarily with our head coaches, but more support staff, that the drop downs aren't showing up. So I'll make sure to let Anna know right now and to add you, and she'll.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, good
Thank you.
info. Can you see that too, Tessa, while I've got you here?
I can check, but like speaking of issues in general, like Shorts and I, we're working on our relationship. What I do, I'm trying to log in right now. When I do come across.
Yeah.
When I do come across stuff, who should I reach out to?
So as you kind of come across, so as far as like individual recruiting in business travel goes, as you have issues, we want our agents to focus on, putting through these team travel requests.
Yeah.
First and foremost. So as you are troubleshooting, you can always reach out to me and I can kind of help you troubleshoot the process. Kind of how it works is I'll ask you what you're searching for, your filters, just to see if I can help find what you're looking for. And then if we really can't, then we'll elevate it to the agent level and then she can assist.
Okay, cool.
And as far as like the team travel perspective, if you have questions about the booking process itself, you can always ask me. And then if I can't answer, then we'll elevate it.
Just like, yeah, just sort of like weird glitches.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm all logged in, which I should be because I had to do everything for stuff last spring. So
Yeah. So I thought you'd be in there.
I'm in
Jesse,
there.
I don't know if you can you hear me? Or can you see the drop down menu in Shorts? Have you logged in yet?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, cool. Good deal. All right. That's it. Thanks for your time, everyone. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Have a
you.
good one.